Good evening, everyone. It's evening here in Qatar. So how are you today, class? I hope everyone is well. Today, I'll be tackling about the improving classroom-based assessment test. At the end of this module, you are expected to identify terms related to improving classroom-based assessment test. You will be able to analyze basic concepts, procedures, and techniques in different ways or judgmental item. And also you will be able to examine checklist on how to assess the quality of test items in the different type of test and to compute also for difficulty in the different type of test and difficulty index accurately, and also you can accurate the how to improve classroom based assessment test. So okay. So in improving classroom-based assessment test, the process does not end after the teacher can select an appropriate learning outcome to assess and design the classroom-based assessment for students. The validity of the classroom instrument for the purpose of which it is intended should also be ensured. In doing so, it requires and improving the test items. So the following are the procedures for judgmental item improvement. And the first one is adherence to guidelines. When reviewing your own items, be sure to be familiarized or familiar with general item writing guidelines. Use them to find and fix any violation of item writing principles. That's number one. Number two, contribution to score-based inference. The reason we assess is to make valid score-based inferences of student knowledge and ability. As you review each item, consider whether the item does in fact contribute to the kind of inference you desire to make about your students. Number three, accuracy of content. Sometimes there are instances where some information is accurate in the past but seems to be obsolete at present. As teachers, they should be considered in reviewing the content of the classroom-based assessment tool. In the said instances, teachers should revisit the item and the key to correction. Absence of content gap. Review your test as a whole to ensure that important content is not overlooked. This is where your test blueprint will come in handy. Identify the priority standards and make sure your assessment content adequately covers those standards. And the last is fairness. Yes, assessment items should be free of bias. They should not favor one group nor discriminate against another. Be attentive to any potential bias so that you can eliminate them as much as you possibly can. So that's A. And now let's go to B. It's collegial judgment. Okay. So of the teachers who work in teams or in professional learning communities or PLCs. This school environment provides a great opportunity for teachers to enlist the help and judgment for those colleagues whom they trust. When you ask another teacher to review your items, be sure to provide them with the guidelines and criteria for review. You can provide them with a summary of the 5 criteria above, just the above items. If you have item writing guidelines that you followed when you develop the items, provide those resources to them. Because teachers are busy professionals, it is often hard to find time to review your own items. So let alone find and ask a fellow teachers to review them for you. If your school is part of a large district staff member who specializes in assessments, this person would be a great resource to have a review your assessment to develop procedures and the quality of your items. So these are the items in the review checklist. First, do the test item follow the general and specific guidelines in writing test items, especially on the following? A, being aligned to objectives, making the problem clear, providing effective options, avoiding unintentional clues, and having only one best answer. So that you have also followed with the questions, are the items from incorrect content? Are the item free from outdated content? Are the test instructions clearly written for the learners to follow? Is the difficulty level of the test appropriate to learners' level? Is the test fair to all types of learners? So let's discuss letter C is judgmental item improvement procedures, student judgment review. After students have completed the test, give them an opportunity to provide you with feedback on the assessment as a whole and on each specific item, gaining information as to whether they thought the directions were clear and if any of the items were confusing is valuable information to inform your assessment creation. Giving students the opportunity to provide feedback to you can not only help you improve your assessments and items, but also it can help you further engage your students, and build a critical and trusting teacher-student relationship. Empirical item improvement. Student judgment or review. In asking feedback from the students, below are the questions that may be answered by the students, and these are the following. Are they any of the items which made you confused? Which ones were they? Did any test number has more than the best answer? If so, cite them. Did any test item has no correct answer? If so, pinpoint. Is there any word in the test items that made you confused? If so, which one? Were the test directions unclear? If so, which one? So improving your test questions. In improving your test questions, these are the following guidelines that help us: choosing between objective and subjective test items. Suggestions for using and writing test items: multiple choice, true or false, matching, completion, essay, problem solving, performance, 2 methods for assessing test item quality. Assessment offered by the Center for Innovation in the Teaching and Learning, or CITL. References for further reading. Choosing between objective and subjective test items. There are 2 general categories of test items. Number 1, improvement items. Okay, objective items which require students to select the correct response from several alternatives or to supply a word or short phrase to answer a question or complete a statement. That's number 1. Number 2, subjective or essay items which permit the students to organize the present and original answer. Objective items include multiple choice, true, false, matching, and completion, while subjective items include short answer essay, extended response essay, problem solving, and performance test items. So that was our lesson 6, if you remember. For exam instructional purposes, one or the other item types may prove more efficient and appropriate. To begin our discussion of the relative merits of each item of test items, test your knowledge of these 2 items types by answering the following question. Test item quiz. Essay exams are easier to construct than our objective exams. That's example. Essay exams require writing skills where objective exams do not. So you just choose true or false. Okay, for example, in question number 1, the answer is true because essay items are generally easier and less time consuming to construct their most objective test items. And the number 2 questions, the answer also is true because writing skills do affect students' ability to communicate the correct factual information through an essay response. Consequently, students with good writing skills have an advantage over students who have difficulty expressing themselves through writing. So if you have the skills of writing, then you have an advantage over those who has difficulty. So work it out and do your best. Okay, suggestion for using and writing test items. Sample, multiple choice item. Okay, so the multiple choice item consists of 2 parts. A, the STEM, which identifies the question or problem, and B, the response alternatives. Students are asked to select the one's alternative the best completes the statement or answers the questions. So item STEM, which of the following is a chemical change? So this is the A example. Response alternative, example, A, evaporation of alcohol, freezing of water, burning of oil, or melting of wax. The true or false test items. A true-false item can be written in one of three forms: simple, complex, or compound. Answers can consist of only 2 choices. 2 choices only: simple, more than 2 choices; complex, or 2 choices plus a conditional completion response, which is compound. An example of each type of true-false item follows. The widest sampling of content or objective per unit of testing time, scoring efficiency and accuracy, versatility in measuring all levels of cognitive ability, highly reliable test scores, and objective measurement of students' achievement or ability. So these are the advantages in using true-false items. The matching test item. In general, matching items consist of a column of stimuli presented on the left side of the exam page and column of responses placed on the right side of the page. Students are required to match the response associated with a given stimulus. So these are the advantages in using matching items. First, require short periods of reading and response time, allowing you to cover more content. It's also provide objective measurement of students' achievement or ability, provide highly reliable test scores, provide scoring efficiency and accuracy. The limitation in using items. Matching items have difficulty measuring learning objectives requiring more than simple recall of information, are difficult to construct due to the problem of selecting a common set of stimuli and responses. Let's go to letter D, completion test items. Omitted only important words in the statement. So completion test items, it's omit only important words. Avoided grammatical rules to the correct response. Then if possible, at the end of the statement, deleted words after the students was presented with a clearly defined problem. Essay test items. Prepared test item with elicited the behavior type 1 wanted to measure. Phrased item, so that the task of the student was clearly indicated. Clearly, problem-solving test items. It is clearly identified and explained to the students, to the problem to the students. It also provided a direction which clearly improved the learner of the type of answer called for. What about the performance test items? Prepared test items that elicit the behavior type 1 wanted to measure. Clearly identified and explained to the students the simulated situation. Empirical item improvement procedure, difficulty indices. So these are the formula. P stands percentage who answered the item correctly, index of difficulty. R, number who answered the item correctly. T, the total number who tried the item. So at the most general level, an item's difficulty is indicated by its mean score in some specified group. Discrimination index. Positive discrimination, negative discrimination, and zero discrimination index. So these are, if you can see, those who did well on the overall test shows the correct answer for a particular item for more often than those who did poorly on the overall test. So this is called positive discrimination index. The negative discrimination index, those who did poorly on the overall test chose the correct answer for a particular item more often than those who did well on the overall test. What about the zero discrimination index? Those who did well and those who did poorly on the overall test chose the correct answer for a particular item with equal frequency. Okay, so D is the item discrimination index. So these are the meaning of RU, the number of the upper group getting the item correct. And T, the small letter U, is equal to the number of the upper group. R1, number of the lower group getting the item correct. Then T is equal to, T1 is equal to the number of the lower group. Okay, the teacher should follow the following steps so as to obtain the proportions of the upper and lower groups responding to the item correctly. Number 1, check and score the test using a key to correction to obtain the student's total scores. Maximum score is the total number of objective items. Order the test paper from highest to lowest score. Split the test paper into halves. Okay, so half, high group and lower group. For a class of 50 or fewer students, do a 50-50 split. Take the upper half as the high group and the lower half as the low group. For a big group of 100 and so take the upper 25 to 27% and the lower 25 to 27%. Maintain equal numbers of test papers for upper and lower group. The number 4, obtain the p-value. The p-value for the upper group and the p-value for the lower group. Distractor analysis. This is an analysis of the distribution of responses across the distractors. Is another empirical procedure that is used to discover areas for item improvement. It is used a follow-up, especially when the difficulty index and discrimination index of the item suggests it's being a candidate for revision. Sensitivity to instruction index. According to the same source, to infer how sensitive an item has been to instruction is another empirical approach for reviewing test items. It denotes a change in the performance of students as a result of instruction. The information is significant for criterion reference tests, which determine if mastery learning has been obtained after a designated prescribed instructional period. Oh, so that's all my lesson for this week. Thank you and Be safe, everyone. God bless. God bless everyone.